Chosen one, stop worrying. God is funding your life from now on. This is the moment you've been waiting for, even if you didn't realize it until now. You felt the weight of each setback, the sting of doubt when they whispered you weren't meant for more, and the quiet ache that comes when your heart longed for a breakthrough. They watched as you toiled, and they smiled when nothing changed. But today, the tide turns. Hidden truths are rising. The walls are cracking. And you will see how divine power has already been poured into your path. If this message already speaks to your soul, subscribe, like this video, and comment 77 below. Prepare yourself, because what you're about to discover will shatter every limit and expose a plan that's been quietly unfolding in your favor. Divine funding over human effort. They know you've been running on empty, burning the candle at both ends, yet seeing nothing but shadows where you expected light. You felt the ache of wanting more, the sting of watching your efforts vanish like dew at sunrise. It's in those quiet moments, when you lie awake wondering if this grind will ever pay off, that you realize they don't tell you the whole story. You're not failing for lack of hustle. You're meant to step into a different rhythm altogether. There's a hidden current beneath your fear and fatigue, a current they've tried to keep you from seeing. But today, the veil lifts. You're about to discover a power that doesn't demand endless striving, a force that writes your blessing checks behind the scenes. Hold tight, because this revelation will rock the foundation of everything you thought you knew about success and supply. You remember the late nights staring at blank pages, the days when every task felt like pushing a boulder uphill. You've tasted hope only to see it slip through your fingers. You've heard the whispers. You're not doing enough. You need to work harder. This is your own fault. Those words became shackles, binding you to a cycle of exhaustion and doubt. You may have told yourself it was just part of the journey, an initiation into greatness. But deep down, your spirit cried out for something more, something outside the ledger of sweat and tears. This struggle isn't a sign of weakness. It's the fertile soil where divine funding begins to take root. And now, that seed is ready to sprout. This hardship was never meant to be your final chapter. In Zechariah 4 verse 6 we read, "Not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, says the Lord of hosts." That verse shows us that heaven's strategy is nothing like the world's playbook. While they stockpile resources and calculate risks, your breakthrough is born of spirit, not strategy. Your trials have been a workshop, molding your heart to receive grace on a scale that defies logic. The very moments you felt abandoned were the moments your faith was being forged to handle overflow. What seemed like divine silence was actually the hush before the roar of provision. Now, you stand at the pivot point where your story shifts from human striving to supernatural support. Look around and feel within. Signs of change are emerging all over your life. Maybe you receive an unexpected message, a word of encouragement from someone you barely know. Perhaps a chance encounter led to a door swinging open, or a small victory paved the way for something far greater. You sense a shift in your own energy, a lightness replacing the heaviness of doubt, like the first buds of spring breaking through winter's grip. Your circumstances are beginning to bloom. Invitations, insights, and ideas flow to you with less effort than ever before. These are not coincidences, but divine timestamps, marking the precise moment when heaven began wiring supply into your everyday reality. Behind the scenes, unseen hands are rearranging your path. Every closed door, every rejection, every detour was orchestrated to steer you toward this season of favor. Your past struggles were not endurance tests to break you, but set up scenes to showcase what happens when heaven steps in. Think of Joseph, whose prison cell became the vault where he stored up the wisdom and strategy to save nations in Genesis 41 verses 48 to 49. Your own chain of hardships has been the anteroom where divine blueprints were woven into your destiny. Now those blueprints are unfolding in real time. Spiritual forces, synchronicities, and miracles are aligning so precisely that you can no longer chalk them up to chance. Yet even as you witness these signs, a part of you hesitates. What if this abundance demands more of you than you're ready to give? What if stepping into the fullness means leaving behind the only identity you've ever known? Many resist when divine change shows up because the unknown feels more frightening than familiar struggle. But this moment calls for a deeper faith, a willingness to shed old skins of fear and step boldly into who you were always meant to be. True alignment isn't passive observation. It's active surrender to the flow of divine favor. It's choosing to trust the invisible hand that's carried you this far and to walk forward without looking back. Now is the time to claim your place at the table. Release the doubts that whisper you're not ready, and embrace the truth that you're fully equipped by heaven's own power. Speak words of declaration over your life. I exist in divine supply, I am anchored in abundance, and I walk by faith, not by sight. Cultivate practices that reinforce this reality. Moments of gratitude each morning, declarations of provision throughout the day, and acts of generosity that overflow from a heart convinced of its own blessing. Take the next step, whether that means pursuing a dream you shelved, sharing your vision with others, or simply standing in faith when nothing seems to make sense. This is your invitation to move from mere survival into a life funded by grace. The age of relentless grinding is over. You have been invited into a higher economy where every need is met before the need even arises. Remember that your story is being written by the Almighty, and every line bears a signature of abundance. Comment abundance if this resonates with you. Keep this truth close, because it will fuel your soul long after this moment has passed. Your chosen path is clear. Step into it now, and let the world watch in awe as heaven's funding transforms everything you touch. A special thanks to all our current members who stand firm in this vision and walk this path with open hearts. And if you feel called to go even deeper, there's a sacred space reserved for our community, a private room where you receive full prophetic messages daily. Join our private membership through the link in the description and walk this path with us. Recognizing signs of divine provision, you've been staring into the quiet, wondering why heaven seems so silent when your heart aches for proof. You've asked for a sign, yearned for a nudge, and grown weary of waiting in the dark. The frustration weighs on you, the feeling that everyone else sees doors opening while you remain outside, knocking in vain. But you are not alone in this. There's a gentle whisper beneath your doubts, a current you've yet to feel fully, but one that is shifting beneath your feet even now. In this moment, you stand on the threshold of recognition. The very ground you walk upon is trembling with unseen provision. What you're about to discover will illuminate those hidden signals, and it will forever change how you walk through days filled with both promise and uncertainty. You know the ache of praying in the quiet only to find your mailbox empty, the sting of handing over your hope only to watch it drop and shatter like glass on cold tile. You've scrolled through endless posts from people boasting of miraculous breakthroughs and wondered why their stories never match your own reality. You felt the heaviness of rejection when your pitch was ignored, the weight of confusion when no door opened, and the loneliness that follows when you question whether God even hears you. Those moments have cut deep, leaving you uncertain if God's favor is for everyone else but you. Yet that wound is exactly where grace is about to plant its flag. This period of waiting wasn't a punishment. It was a spiritual annealing process designed to prepare your soul for the eruption of divine favor. Consider the story tucked away in Judges 6 verses 20-21, where Gideon, fearful and hesitant, offers bread and meat baked on an uncut rock to the angel of the Lord, and the offering catches fire at heaven's command. Gideon's trembling hands held the first signs of breakthrough he could not yet grasp. In the same way, your doubts and hesitations have been the altar upon which heaven will kindle your provision. That trembling is not a sign of defeat, but the prelude to a flame that will consume every barrier they set before you. Look closely now, and you will see the first shoots of change breaking through the soil of your life. It may come as a sudden threat of peace when chaos roars around you, like the quiet center of a storm. It might arrive as a message from an old friend bearing unexpected encouragement, or a random notification that leads you to the exact resource you needed. Perhaps a check you forgot about appears in your bank account, or a task left unfinished by someone else falls into your lap, saving you hours of work. These are not coincidences. They are like seeds sprouting overnight, irrepressible signs that divine timing is now weaving every strand of your life into a tapestry of overflowing supply. Behind the scenes, forces you cannot see are orchestrating every turn of your journey. What you once saw as random setbacks were carefully engineered detours, steering you away from lesser paths toward the one your destiny requires. Those moments of frustration were not tests of endurance, but invitations to trust the divine puppeteer pulling the strings. Synchronicities have been your secret compass, the job posting that appeared just as your contract ended, the mentor who reached out after years of silence, the idea that sparked in your mind when you least expected it. These hidden interventions confirm that your calling is not an accident, but a deliberate design meant to launch you into your appointed sphere of influence. As these signs become undeniable, you may still hesitate, caught between the comfort of what you know and the promise of something greater. Many resist stepping into change because the familiar, even when painful, feels safer than the unknown. But true alignment demands more than seeing the light at dawn. It requires you to rise from bed and walk toward it. This is your sacred pivot point, the choice to embrace every sign, every nudge, every whisper from the divine realm. When you do, you won't just observe transformation. You'll become its living embodiment, walking proof that heaven's provision moves in tandem with your faith. Now is the moment to claim your inheritance and stand in the fullness of what's been summoned for you. Release the chains of doubt and speak these words. I recognize a hand of provision guiding my steps. I welcome every sign that leads me closer to my destiny. Cultivate moments of gratitude. Each time a parking spot miraculously opens, a deadline gets extended, or a check arrives earlier than expected, pause and acknowledge it as a divine handshake. Write down these tokens of favor in a journal. Collect them like sacred artifacts and let them fuel your expectancy. Take the next step on the path before you, whether that means pitching a bold idea, investing time in prayer, or sharing your testimony with someone hungry for hope. This is your awakening to the reality that divine provision is not a distant promise. It is the air you breathe, the water that sustains you, and the ground upon which you walk. Your journey has been a tapestry of hidden blessings waiting to be recognized. As you open your eyes to these signs, you become the living signal, a beacon for others who still wander in doubt. Trust that what you see rising before you is only the beginning of a harvest that will overflow into every area of your life. Comment signs if this resonates with you. Let your testimony echo through this community, and watch as more doors fling open in answer to the faith you boldly proclaim. This is where your story pivots from waiting to wonder, from seeking to seeing, and from wandering to winning. And to every soul who supported with a super thanks, thank you. You are keeping this light alive for others who haven't found it yet. If you feel called to help this mission reach more chosen ones, tap the super thanks button below. Your energy supports these messages and helps them travel further. Your voice matters, your belief matters, and your light is felt here, stepping into overflow and abundance. You felt the grind squeeze the life from your days, watching others seem to float on an endless tide of gifts while you paddle against a shrinking current. Every morning you lace up hope with shoes of doubt, and every night you feel the ache of unmet needs pressing into your bones. You've carried the weight of expectations, your family's hopes, your own dreams, the silent prayers you whisper in the dark, and it feels like all you get in return is dust and echoes. But right now, you stand at a threshold. Beneath the surface of your struggle, a new rhythm stirs. In the hush before dawn, you can almost hear a deep drumbeat of abundance calling you forward. This is your moment to step into a life where the tap of heaven opens wide, and what you once begged becomes the water you swim in. When every opportunity seems rationed, fear grows like weeds choking your spirit. You know that if you slip, there may be no second chance. You felt the knot in your gut when the rent loomed too close, the sting of a dream deferred because you lacked just one small thing. You watched peers climb ladders you couldn't reach and wondered if there was some secret passcode you missed. It hurts to see your hopes dim while the world keeps its lights on. You've tried every trick in the book, more emails, longer hours, brighter pitches, but the return stayed small. It's a lonely place, believing that your effort is your only currency, and that when it runs out, you'll be left with nothing but silence. Yet this is not the end of your story, but the hinge where it turns. In Ezekiel 47, verses 1-4, a prophet stood by a temple's threshold and saw water rising ankle-deep, then knee-deep, then flooding past his waist, until it filled the land. That river began as a trickle, unseen and unclaimed, until he stepped in. Your struggle has been the dry channel waiting to be filled. The aches you feel now are the shape of your riverbed, carved by seasons of drought, so that when the waters come, they will pour through every gully and ravine. What once felt like empty ground is about to become a channel of overflow, and your steps of faith will unlock that rising tide. Signs of that river are already moving beneath the surface of your life. You might feel a lightness in your heart when you pause to breathe, as if worry has less hold on your mind. A small gift could show up, a check in the mail you forgot to expect, a friend offering help at the perfect moment, a sudden insight that shifts your project into focus. You might wake from a dream that breathes life into your days, or catch yourself smiling at a thought you never gave permission to feel. These are not random flickers, but the first ripples of your season of plenty. Like water finding every crack in the earth, divine timing is seeping into your schedule, your inbox, your very breath, aligning moments so precise that you can't deny they come from beyond you. Behind these signs lies a dance of unseen forces, choreographed to set you free. Your past hardships were never meant to punish you, but to prepare you, like rough currents sculpting a deeper channel for floodwaters to follow. Spiritual energy has been working overtime, smoothing the stones of resistance and clearing debris from your path. Every closed door, every setback, every delay has been a redirected current, steering you toward the wide water you were born to navigate. Synchronicities swirl around you, timing so precise you know there's a hand at work. Proof that faith and manifestation are two sides of the same river. Your calling is not an echo in the void. It is a song that heaven has tuned just for you. Even as you sense these wonders, a part of you may hesitate, afraid that stepping into abundance means losing your footing on familiar ground. Many cling to the known scarcity, fearing that an open floodgate will sweep away their very sense of self. But true overflow demands that you trust the current, lean into its flow, and let it carry you beyond every shore you've ever known. This is a sacred turning point. To not only see the waters rise, but to wade in with arms open and heart bold. When you embrace this moment fully, you shift from being an observer to becoming a river bearer of blessing, guiding others to the same life-giving stream. Now lean into that truth, release the tight grip of fear, and let go of the frantic clutching at scraps. Speak words of release. I am not meant to beg for drops. I was born to bathe in abundance. Begin each day with gratitude for the supply that never fails. The roof over your head, the breath in your lungs, the spark in your soul. Act in generosity, sharing what you receive, whether big or small, because overflow is not hoarded but passed along. Step toward your dreams with the confidence that every need will be met, not because of your effort alone, but because heaven's hand never slumbers. Trust the invitation before you. Walk into the river and feel its lift beneath your feet. This is your awakening to a new economy of grace and favor. The days of ration hope are ending. You're entering a season where abundance becomes your natural state. The river of provision flows now, ready to carry you into every promise that once felt out of reach. Comment overflow if this resonates with you. Let this declaration anchor in your heart and echo in your actions. Your life is about to brim over in ways that will astound you and everyone you touch. The age of scarcity is past. Welcome the era of endless supply, breaking old survival patterns. You've been living with your shoulders hunched, scanning every horizon for threats, bracing yourself against imagined shortages that never come. You lie awake at night, heart pounding, replaying each missed opportunity and every slight that cut deeper than you thought possible. You're convinced that unless you scramble now, every blessing will slip through your fingers like sand. But what if I told you that this frantic posture isn't your default destiny? That beneath your fear-stiffened muscles lies a different rhythm designed for rest and overflow. You're not alone in feeling trapped by old survival instincts. There's a hidden invitation waiting for you, one that flips the script of scarcity and ushers you into a realm where provision flows freely. Stay with me, because what's coming next will crack open the prison of your own making and reveal truths they've long kept buried. There was a time when every scrap felt like your only lifeline. You remember the sting of rejection when your proposals were dismissed, the hollow ache in your chest when you watched others succeed with ease, and the whispers of doubt that told you you're not good enough every time you dare to hope. You've tried every strategy, longer hours, sharper pitches, extravagant sacrifices, only to find your well of energy running dry and your spirit more parched than before. It's as if you've been caught in a loop of desperation, believing the next hustle will lift you out of the grind. Yet each new tactic brought only fleeting relief, driving you further into belief that your worth is measured by how fiercely you fight for scraps. That exhausting cycle has shaped you, but it was never meant to be your endgame. Everything changes when you recognize that your struggle was a crucible for transformation, not a sentence of perpetual hardship. In 2 Corinthians 12 verses 7 to 9, Paul speaks of a thorn given to him so that the power of Christ may rest upon him, declaring, "For when I am weak, then I am strong." His weakness was not a flaw to hide, but a gateway for divine strength. Your own moments of vulnerability have been carving out space for heaven's power to take root. The very wounds you try to mend through frantic effort are being repurposed as bridges to a new kind of abundance, one that cannot be earned by sweat alone, but is granted by grace when you learn to release the frantic grip of survival. Now look for the subtle signs of that transformation weaving through your life. Maybe you feel a calm wash over you when yesterday's chaos threatens to overwhelm. Perhaps an old friend reaches out with exactly the guidance you needed, or a small windfall appears just when bills loom largest. You might notice that certain doors simply open without your forcing them, and that ideas flow with a clarity that surprises you. These shifts are like buds breaking through winter's frozen ground. Small at first, but unstoppable in their determination to bloom. Divine timing is in motion, aligning everything from your thoughts to your environment in perfect sync. The moments you once chalked up to coincidence are actually markers on the path to a new reality. Behind the scenes, unseen hands are clearing the debris of your past struggles to make room for your divine elevation. Your trials were never endurance tests to prove your worth. They were rehearsals for a grand performance scripted by heaven. In Exodus 1 verses 15 to 21, the Hebrew midwives Shiphrah and Puah defied Pharaoh's command to destroy newborns, and in doing so, they paved the way for Israel's destiny to unfold. Their brave refusal to act out of fear demonstrates how small acts of courage can rewire the course of history. In the same way, your resistance to panic and your willingness to trust beyond what you can see are dismantling walls you thought were unbreakable, setting your life on an upward trajectory. By now, you sense the currents shifting under your feet, but something holds you back, the fear of letting go. You know that stepping away from the patterns that once protected you feels like standing on a ledge without a safety net. Many hesitate because of familiar scarcity, even when painful, feels safer than the unknown abundance that beckons. True alignment demands more than noticing the signs. It calls for a wholehearted embrace of the change they point to. This is your sacred turning point. When you choose to step off the ledge of survival and into the river of divine provision, you cease to be a spectator and become a participant in the miracle itself. Now is the time to reclaim your power and rewrite your story. Release the tight grip of fear and declare, "I am no longer bound by old patterns of lack." Speak life over your dreams and anchor your heart in the truth that you were designed for far more than mere survival. Create daily practices that reinforce this reality. Moment of gratitude, intentional pauses to acknowledge your signs, and acts of generosity that prove your faith is real. Whether you lean into prayer, meditate on affirmations, or take a bold step toward a dream you've long shelved, trust that each action aligns you further with the floodgates of provision swinging open. This breakthrough is your birthright, not a reward for relentless striving. The same God who turned water into wine at Cana and sent ravens to feed Elijah is now orchestrating the overflow of your life in ways that exceed every calculation. Let go of the thorns of panic and pick up the crown of freedom instead. Comment freedom if this resonates with you. Your moment has arrived. Step into the vast plane of divine abundance where your cup not only fills but spills over, blessing everyone in its path. Living in a state of divine confidence. You felt the hush settle over your life the moment you dared to raise your voice in faith, as though your own heartbeat was too loud for the world to bear. You've lived with that tightness in your chest when you step forward, wondering if every eye is a judge, if every whispered word will be one that undoes you. You lie awake replaying conversations, scouring your memory for missteps, convinced that any spark of peace is just the eye of a storm about to roar back to life. But in this very moment, you're being called out of the shadows of doubt and into a clear space where divine confidence is no longer a distant dream, but the air you breathe. You're on the brink of discovering a power that will steady your soul and embolden every step you take. Hold on to that promise, because what's about to unfold will reshape how you see yourself and how the world responds to you. You know the familiar ache of hesitating before taking action, of swallowing your ideas because they felt too grand or too strange, of watching others step into the spotlight while you held back, believing you lacked permission. You felt the sting when your enthusiasm met cold shoulders, the echo of rejection that chased you home, and a nagging voice that whispered you weren't prepared, not good enough, not worthy. Your faith trembled under the weight of each unanswered question and every closed door. In moments of silence, you wonder if divine favor was reserved for another season, another person, and not you. That emotional weight has shaped your days, narrowing your dreams and dimming your vision. But beneath that doubt, something in your spirit still aches to rise, to stand firm, to declare with unwavering certainty that you are chosen for greatness. This season of hesitation and question was never a detour, but a deliberate forward for your faith. In 2 Kings 22, verses 14 to 20, when King Josiah's court discovered the book of the law, they turned to the prophetess Huldah, a voice in the wilderness no one expected, to reveal God's promise. Her words didn't just inform, they ignited a nation's revival. Your own moment of uncertainty had prepared you to hear and hold your next commission, to speak with authority because your soul has been refined by testing. What felt like missteps were carefully orchestrated steps toward the moment you would stand on holy ground, not trembling, but rooted. This is a pivot point where every trial transitions into testimony. Now look for the subtle shifts unfolding around you. Perhaps you've noticed a steadier tone in your voice when you pray, a clear direction in your mind when opportunities arise, or that people respond to your ideas with unexpected warmth. You may feel a calm resolve in your body where panic once lived, or find that resources appear when you most need them, an impromptu message, an open door, a friend's timely offer. These are not random flickers, but markers of transformation, signposts along the path where heaven's timing aligns with your steps. Imagine each sign as a soft breeze guiding you through a dense forest, revealing the next perfect clearing where your confidence can take root and bloom. Behind those signs, unseen hands are shaping your destiny. Your past struggles were never meant to break you, but to break open the reservoir of strength within you. Spiritual forces have been working in concert. Synchronicities weaving threads of divine orchestration, moments of uncanny timing that defy chance. When you prayed for direction and felt that sudden clarity, that was heaven's courier delivering your marching orders. When you took a leap of faith and found a net below, that was the manifestation of divine alignment. Your calling is not a wish nor a fleeting impulse. It is a blueprint etched in eternity, waiting for you to claim it with the authority granted by your Creator. As you sense these workings, you may still feel the tremor of old fears, the fear of looking foolish, the fear of failure, the fear that stepping out will leave you exposed. Many resist transformation because a familiar cage of doubt, even though uncomfortable, feels safer than the unknown expanse of true empowerment. But this is your sacred crossroads, to not merely observe the signs, but to step fully into them, to allow divine confidence to settle in your bones. Refuse to shrink back, and instead let your heart expand with the knowledge that you are supported by an unshakable foundation. Embrace this moment as a threshold where you shed the old skin of fear and step into the radiance of your own light. This is your invitation to stand tall and take the next step with conviction. Release the nagging doubts and declare, I walk with the assurance of heaven's backing. Cultivate practices that reinforce this reality. Speak affirmations over your life, anchor your mornings in gratitude, and move boldly toward the tasks that once paralyzed you. Whether that means voicing your vision in a meeting, creating art that reflects your soul, or simply telling your story with clarity, trust that every step you take resonates with divine purpose. You have been granted authority to shape your world, not by might or plan, but by the spirit that empowers you. Step forward, knowing you carry within you the command to triumph. Carry this truth with you. Divine confidence is not a rare gift, but your birthright. The season of struggle is over. You are chosen, fully backed, and perfectly timed. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Like this video, and comment, I am chosen, to let this message anchor in your soul. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. Thank you to all our supporting members. You keep these truths shining bright. 4 full prophetic revelations daily. Join the membership via the link in the description. Your spiritual path deserves more than fragments. Step into the full light. And if this message moved you deeply, consider tapping the Super Thanks button to support the mission. Every Super Thanks fuels the light we're spreading together. Stay chosen, stay powerful,